Hello and welcome. Today we're going to tackle one of the most, let's be honest, one of the most confusing topics in networking, the OSI model. And to do that, we're going to follow the story of a young IT student named Ethan, who, like a lot of us, found the whole thing just completely baffling. You can just picture it, right? Ethan staring at his textbook, totally frustrated. 7 different layers just to send one little message? It made no sense at all. So one night, after hours of just trying to cram it all in, he falls asleep right there at his desk. And when he opens his eyes, his room is gone. He's been transported somewhere else completely. And right in front of him stands this massive, glowing tower with 7 distinct floors. A mysterious sign kind of shimmers into existence, inviting him on a quest. You see, to finally get a handle on the OSI model, he'd have to climb this tower, level by level. So, with a deep breath, Ethan walks towards the entrance, ready to start his adventure. As Ethan steps inside that first floor, the air is just filled with the sound of hammering and the crackle of electricity. He sees this huge, muscular guy laying down thick cables and sending sparks flying everywhere. This was his first introduction to the very foundation of the network. The builder proudly shouts over the noise, "I'm the physical layer. I carry the bits, the zeros and ones, as electricity, light, or radio waves." He explained that he's kind of like the road a mailman uses. If there's no road, well, nothing gets delivered, right? He doesn't read the messages, he just pushes the raw signals along. So the key idea here is that this layer is all about the actual physical stuff that connects everything. So, Ethan climbs the stairs to the next level, and wow, the environment changes completely. On the second floor, he's stopped by this very stern-looking guard with sunglasses and a clipboard. This was a place of rules and order, a huge contrast to the raw energy from the floor below. The guard immediately asks for a MAC address. He explains that his whole job is to package data into these organized containers he calls frames, and to make absolutely sure they don't crash into each other. He's like the traffic cop of the local network, using unique hardware addresses to direct data and keep everything moving smoothly. No collisions on his watch. On the third floor, the atmosphere changes yet again. Here, Ethan meets this super energetic world traveler, totally surrounded by maps, GPS devices, and signs pointing in every direction imaginable. This character was all about the big journey, not just the local neighborhood. "I'm the network layer, the IP guy," the traveler exclaimed. He explains that his job is to deliver packets of data across the entire world using IP addresses. The traveler said his most important skill was routing. If one path is blocked, he always finds another one. He's basically the global postal service of the tower, figuring out the best possible route to get a packet from one side of the planet to the other. Reaching the 4th floor, Ethan runs into a very serious-looking manager from the quality control department. This floor wasn't about the physical path or the global route. No, this was all about the quality and the reliability of the delivery itself. And the manager explained it perfectly. He said TCP is like a careful courier who needs a signature, confirms the delivery, and makes sure not a single item is missing. Yeah, it's a bit slower, but it's super reliable. UDP, on the other hand, well, that's like a pizza delivery service during a mad rush. They just launch it in your general direction and hope it gets there. It's fast, but it's not guaranteed. So, the crucial point here is that the transport layer is responsible for that end-to-end connection. It makes sure data gets to the right application using things called ports, and it decides whether the connection needs to be super reliable with TCP or just plain fast with UDP. The 5th floor was, well, it was elegant, like a formal conference room. As Ethan walked in, a very polite host greeted him with a bow. This layer, he'd soon find out, is all about managing the conversation between 2 computers. The host described his role as being like a meeting organizer. He opens up the communication channel, or the session, keeps it alive while the 2 applications are talking, and then closes it politely when they're all done. Without him, conversations would get cut off mid-sentence or just fall apart completely. Moving up to the 6th floor, Ethan found things got a bit more artistic. Here, he met a stylish translator, surrounded by all these tools for encryption, compression, and formatting. Her job? To make sure the data is speaking the right language for both the network and the application. So this is basically the universal translator of the OSI model. It takes the data from the application and formats it in a way the network can actually understand. It also handles really important tasks like encrypting data for security so only the right person can read it, and compressing it to make it smaller and faster to send. And finally, Ethan reached the very top of the tower. The 7th floor looked like a bustling marketplace, and a cheerful shop owner waved him over. This is the only layer that we, as users, actually see and interact with.
"I'm the application layer," the shopkeeper said. "I handle the apps you use every single day, your browser, your email, your messaging apps. This layer is the graphical interface for the entire network stack. It's the web browser you're using right now, the email client you open. It doesn't do the heavy lifting, but as the shopkeeper joked, it sure gets all the credit."
So to put it all together, the shop owner handed Ethan a message to send, and he watched it start its journey down the tower. The application layer provided the interface, then the presentation layer translated it, the session layer opened a connection, the transport layer broke it into segments, the network layer added the IP address, the data link layer put it in a frame, and finally, the physical layer turned it all into electrical pulses and sent it zipping across the world. And as the tower faded away, Ethan woke up, right back at his desk. But this time he was smiling. The confusion was totally gone. He finally understood the entire model in one simple, clear thought. It's not some confusing mess, it's a perfectly organized team. By breaking down a super complex system into 7 manageable layers, each with its own specific job, the OSI model creates a kind of universal language for how computers communicate. It's a story of teamwork, from the physical cable all the way up to the application you see on your screen. And hopefully, after climbing the tower with Ethan, it now makes perfect sense to you too.